My God, we're at the 30 game. I'm gonna have to do OKBV. You can trust me. You can trust me. Okay, buddy Vaush. Okay, buddy Vaush.
Okay, buddy Vaush.
My
Okay,
God,
buddy Vaush.
we're at the 30 game. I'm gonna have to do OKBV.
Okay, buddy Vaush.
Okay, buddy. OKBV. Okay, buddy. I'm gonna have to do it.
One eternity later.
saying like, hey, thanks for doing the fashion arc because it's made me interested in getting some clothes. The fashion shit is so boring. And ban. Not today. We're not dealing with it today. Today is the one day you don't get to complain. It will be nothing but enthusiasm for the subject. You hear that? You can disagree with my taste, but you can't disagree with the concept of me expressing my bad taste on stream. All right. Ooh, we got a lot. Ooh, we got a lot to get into. All right. I want to make it really clear from the get-go, two big things. First of all, I am, because I know there are some people who are going to say this, not sponsored by any brands that I mention. I can't believe I have to say that, but I do. Secondly, all right, not an expert. In fact, total dipshit. I know nothing. You know the saying, a little knowledge is a dangerous thing? What that means is knowing a little bit about a thing makes you overconfident. It's the Dunning-Kruger effect, you know? That's me, okay? I have realized that jeans look good with t-shirts, and now I think I know everything. Really, in all seriousness, I know so little, okay? This is just, you know, if you like listening to me anyway, I mean, whatever. I talk about this, I talk about another subject, you know, whatever you care to listen to. Is that your field jacket, Vaush? Yes, it is. This is my field jacket, and I like it. Yeah, the libertarianism fashion jeans was sure. Exactly. Excuse me. So, we're gonna make it happen, folks. Okay? We're gonna see. I'm gonna dump all this together into one place so I can just refer people to it when I want to in the future. Okay? I have no idea how long this is gonna be. But we're starting immediately. Okay. So, let's talk about why dressing well can be cool and fun, okay? So when you dress up, when you dress at all, you're engaging in a form of communication, okay? You are styling yourself in a way that is meant to convey meaning to others. It's the same thing that you do when you get a haircut or when you trim your beard or do literally anything regarding your appearance. If all you were doing was shielding yourself from the elements and indecent exposure charges, then everyone would just wear monk robes everywhere. But obviously, we don't. People dress in certain ways because they're trying to convey certain elements of their appearance and their attitude to others. Even if you think that you only dress casually as a matter of like, that's the easiest thing to put on, you know, I'm willing to bet that at some point you have made a decision that was in some way motivated by an aesthetic sense, you know? You've seen an item of clothing and you thought, that looked nice, you know? Now, I don't support conspicuous consumption as a concept. If a person is buying things just to show off the fact that they bought things and have the money to have bought things, I think that's pretty cringe. However, haircuts cost money, deodorant costs money, beard trimming costs something, you gotta get the materials for that. There is wealth tied up in basically all forms of self-expression, because that's the world that we live in, you know? But I don't think that's an argument against the concept of self-expression. I don't think it's innately vain or, you know, materialistic or shallow or trite to care about fashion. This is an issue that I used to have, and it's an issue that I have with a lot of the people in my comments who, like, are very disdainful towards the fashion thing, and it seems to be that a lot of people think there's something innately superficial and dumb about fashion. Now, I'm going to open with the hard take here. I think a lot of this is misogyny. I think that one of the biggest things young boys are taught about girls is that they're superficial and obsessed with their appearance and fashion and blah blah, and that we think of fashion and looking good through clothing as this effeminate thing. So it's superficial for a guy to get into it. This is obviously, at the face of it, stupid. Fashion is not like gendered in that sense, like you know, GQ magazine, like, you know, movies press male fashion, guys care about how they look, everyone wants to look good through clothes, right? The question is, how do you do it? And follow-up, how do you do it cheaply? Because let's be real here, you know, if you had an infinite amount of money and time, you guys could go to a stylist and they could just recommend outfits for you and you could buy them, and it would be really pricey, but that would probably look pretty good in you know? In reality, most people can't do that. Most people have to go to the store and make decisions themselves for how they look. And, you know, in that regard, you know, since self-styling is a kind of, you know, artistic engagement with the world, not everyone's an artist. Takes a bit of time to get good at that, you know? To be sort of like effortlessly confident in how you dress, which is not something I am, by the way. That takes some time and knowledge. And I think that a lot of people are intimidated by the time and knowledge it takes, so they would rather withdraw from it entirely and convince themselves that they're smarter than people who care about it. But I think that's bullshit. I really do, you know? I think everyone wants to, you know, speak to the world a little bit, with how they present themselves, whether that be the way they style themselves, like hair, beard, the way they gesture when they talk, the way they walk, the way they speak, the literal like intonation of their sentences, or the way they dress. So I think it's valuable for everyone. It's good to be confident. It's good to feel good when you wear clothes. You want to put something on and feel good about it. Look in the mirror, feel good about how your hair looks, how your beard looks, how your glasses look, and how your clothes look. That's okay, you know? I'm not saying you're always going to nail it 10 out of 10 perfect every time, and you shouldn't obsess over it, but at the very least, it's nice to find, you know, happiness and meaning and some nice stuff you can do to make yourself feel better and communicate to others. Does everyone understand what I'm getting at? I'm just saying right out the bat, anyone who thinks that engaging in fashion or whatever is like bullshit or shallow or feminine or superficial or whatever, not that it's an issue if it's feminine, but you know what I mean, that's cope, mega cope. The world is full of 15-year-old fat boys who are resentful towards others that they can't look good in a t-shirt and they don't know what to do with those feelings, so they pretend and they convince themselves that fashion's actually dumb and gay anyway. And, you know, they're actually, like, enlightened for not caring about it, you know? Meanwhile, they're, like, seething and coping whenever somebody walks by looking good. We're not doing this fedora shit, okay? Hopefully everyone gets that. So, I used to be a 15-year-old chubby boy. Me too. Will this only be focused on menswear? Yes, but a lot of the stuff that I'm going to talk about is universally applicable. I think a lot of it is also rooted in sour grapes because fashion tends to cater to thin people. That is true, and we're going to talk about that now. So, generally speaking, the fatter you are, the harder fashion is. That's true. There are things that can be done to mitigate this. The main issue is that overwhelmingly, like, clothing is sold to us on the basis of, like, you are skinny, wear this skinny guy clothing. And being fat is like a deviation from that. See, way back in the day, and by way back in the day, I mean everything before like 300 years ago, all clothing was custom made. All of it. Because of course it was. How could it not be? If you wanted an item of clothing, you would go to a tailor in your, I don't know, village or city or whatever, and they would measure you, and they would make an outfit for you, you know? You would either get it done that way, or if you were a peasant or didn't have much money, it would be like a hand-me-down from your parents or your older siblings. But like fundamentally, the clothing was made for you. Now we have ready-to-wear fashion, which is way more efficient when it comes to clothing lots and lots of people, right? What we have now is garment manufacturers have an understanding of what the average, massive finger quotes on average, by the way, person is shaped like. We have standard measurements, and they can build outfits around mannequins that have those standard measurements. A lot of high-end clothing manufacturers literally make their ready-to-wear clothing based off one guy's body. I forget his name, but he's in New York. It's literally one guy. He's the guy they model it on, you know? And yes, he's a skinny guy. He's a skinny, tall man. Yeah. Now, the problem with this is that in pure economic terms, you know, you want to manufacture garments that fit the greatest number of people possible, right? Like, you don't want to make weirdo sizes that only fit 2 people, because if you're manufacturing those, you're probably not going to make a return on them. There's not really like a monetary incentive to, which means that people without their proportions either have to A, go to a tailor and get it custom made, or B, settle for something that kind of fits but not exactly. You might have noticed, for example, that as you go up in sizes for most clothing, it's more than one measurement changes. For example, if you wear a shirt that's like XXL rather than like XL or whatever, it doesn't just get wider in the stomach, it also gets wider in the shoulders and longer, which might be an issue because if you're just, you know, fat, it might not need to get wider in the shoulders. It might not need to get longer. The clothing gets bigger in every direction. Your stomach is only bigger than the average measurement in one direction. Does that make sense? As a consequence of this, this means that generally speaking, sizing gets more difficult the more you deviate from the average dimensions of a person. Again, huge finger quotes there, okay? Average dimensions here, it's a pretty arbitrary standard. So this is generally the case. However, I've got good news, guys. It is not entirely the case. There are materials that can be worn, styles that can be leaned into, brands that can be shopped from that make it possible, sometimes even easy, to shop as a person with out there proportions. Whether you're very tall, very short, or fat, something can be done. A common example of what people who are fatter will do, especially if you're a guy, is you will lean into thicker fabrics, because the fatter you are, the more likely it is you don't want the contours of your body to be a central feature of the clothing you're wearing. T-shirts are thin and cling, so instead they wear things like flannels or sweaters or big bulky long sleeve t-shirts or jackets or hoodies or any other manner of thing that kind of simplify a shape and sort of boil it down into a, you know, a big stretchy mass that's much easier to shape things around for. I mean, how many people in chat think they would have trouble fitting into a t-shirt perfectly, but like you look just fine wearing a hoodie, right? It's because hoodies are baggy. They're meant to be baggy, you know? You can be pretty fat and wear a hoodie, and the hoodie will look fine. It won't look like misshapen or missized because it's a hoodie. It's meant to stretch and be big, right? Now that's in terms of wearing different clothes, but there are also manufacturers who make stuff big and tall for people who are fat or very tall or very short, and it is getting easier and easier to find stuff like this. For example, Abercrombie & Fitch, who I really like the t-shirts of, they offer tall versions of their t-shirts, which is good for me. I have a long torso, which means that even though I wear large t-shirts, that basically just brings them just a bit below my navel. So I like the tall option because it allows it to go down a little further. There are manufacturers that will design things specifically for like different kinds of proportions. And with the materials that we wear, it's getting easier and easier to kind of work around differing bodily proportions. The reason I'm saying all of this is because I really don't think that being fat is disqualifying from being drippy. Not even a little bit. Okay? Now, yes, if you are very, very fat, you know, like morbidly obese or something like that, yes, it does get a lot more difficult. That is true. I still think that there are things you can do to look better within that purview, like within that limitation. But yes, obviously a lot of what I'm saying is kind of based on the assumption that the person listening is, you know, at least within a stone's throw of the standard proportions. I just don't want people to feel discouraged because they're fat, you know? Because I used to think like, oh, fashion only works if you're skinny, but that's bullshit. Yes, a lot of fashion is marketed to the skinny, and a lot of runway models are skinny, but that's its own world, man. The idea that bigger people can't look good with clothing, total bullshit. It's just as easy for like a decently thick guy to look drippy as it is for a skinny guy. Seriously, the options are out there, and there are plenty of styles that, in my opinion, actually look better on larger guys, you know, particularly with guys, sort of projecting masculinity, wide shoulders, a broad barrel chest. There are things that you can lean into, you know? Vaush, do you own any big and tall clothes? I think I have a few, but I don't remember which ones specifically. For the most part, my proportions are in the ballpark of fitting to a large or an XL, depending on what exactly I'm doing. You know? So, yeah. High fashion is a different world, so that doesn't count for normal people. Correct. High fashion, runway model fashion, has nothing to do with anything we're talking about, okay? Put it out of your head, okay? That is like a very specific environment. That it's a very incestuous environment of like hyper drippy 6'4", 140-pound models all exchanging clothes for the benefit of a bunch of like wealthy garment district millionaires. That's its own thing, okay? We're not doing this. Okay. Incestuous, well, like it's all like for itself. There are brands specifically for very overweight people. They got plenty of nice stuff. Yes, they do, and we will certainly talk about all that. Do not worry, okay? So yeah, that's the accessibility portion, okay? Now, what we're about to do next is probably going to be the most painful part of this stream, but I said I was going to do it, and I want to do it, okay? I find it difficult to imagine how I could condense all the thoughts and feelings that I have on how this all works and what people should do to feel better in like a categorized way, because there's just so much, right? And I'm not great at organizing my thoughts, even with relatively approachable subjects. For something like this, I would just be like sputtering around. So what I resolved to do is that I was simply going to show off all of the clothes that I've bought over the past 2 months or so. Everything I feel I can say something about anyway. It's going to take a bit, and there's going to be gaps, because I'm going to have to get up and get a new item and come back. I'll try to do it in blocks, so, you know, it's like, if I have 20 t-shirts, I don't need to show off every t-shirt, right? But that way we can get a feel for the logic of why I got it. That's the thing we're trying to focus on here, okay? Fashion is a kind of art, it's a kind of communication, and like every other kind of art or communication, there is a language that you learn to pick up on that allows you to weave and synthesize information more effectively than if you were just being told everything, you know? Learning math isn't just learning the answer to 10 equations, it's learning how the equations work so you could solve it 1,000 times over. When it comes to political analysis or, like, you know, media literacy, it's not about, hey, which sources do you trust? Though that's a part of it. I think the big part of it, however, the most important part is, how do you learn whether or not a source is trustworthy? Does that make sense? So to that end, that's how I feel I could do a good job of expressing what I value, you know? I'm not going to put on all the clothing. I'm just going to show it, because it would take an ungodly amount of time for me to put on and take off every item. We're not doing that. But it's important. Do you think we'll see high fashion move towards more inclusive shapes as a whole within our lifetime? Maybe, but I don't necessarily know if they need to. And maybe I'll talk about that later, but, you know, excuse me. It seems similar to learning to draw with color theory. Yeah, I would say so. Okay. We got a lot to do. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn on autofocus on this camera so I don't have to worry about being the right distance from it. There we go. All right, guys, let's get started. Nice. Right off the bat. T-shirts from... Is the autofocus going to work? Are we going to make that work? Whatever. T-shirts from Abercrombie & Fitch. Really simple. They're like 15 bucks each, okay? I'm not hitting you with that boozy shit right off the bat. So, as you can see, they're T-shirts. We know how T-shirts work, right? Look, I think that when it comes to just buying nice T-shirts, and I mean just regular plain color T-shirts, not like graphic tees or whatever, I think the real thing that you have to be concerned with is that every T-shirt manufacturer shapes their T-shirts a little bit differently. Like, there's always a little bit of variance. Excuse me. There's always a little bit of variance when it comes to, like, how does it fit on the shoulders? How long is it? Like, does it cover your navel fully, you know? What are the proportions? How tight is it? That kind of stuff. And really, the best way to know is just go to a few stores and try on a T-shirt. Like, it's the easiest thing in the world to get into. I think the main problem with T-shirts, though, is that most T-shirts are very visually unexceptional. You know? T-shirts on their own aren't that drippy. They're just not. They're such a simple piece of fabric. They're literally just like a kind of loose tube around you with sleeves. You know, it's so simple that there's not much room for expression, which is why usually people will either lean into graphic tees as a way of having a bit of color and visual flair when paired with jeans or whatever, and that's fine, that's great, you know? Or the T-shirt will just be a color block that is used alongside other items of clothing. That's what I'm doing right now, of course. In what I'm wearing right now, the only thing the T-shirt does, really, is serve as a simple color block that breaks up what would otherwise be just solid brown over blue jeans. It's really that simple. On its own, the t-shirt that I'm wearing would look fine, to be sure, but generally I think t-shirts are good as an accompaniment to something else, like a jacket. If you're just going to wear a t-shirt and jeans, that's also totally fine, but I think that, for the most part, if you're wearing a t-shirt and jeans or a t-shirt and shorts or whatever else, the t-shirt on its own very rarely carries much visual weight, and I usually think it would be better to either accompany it with something else, like a light jacket, a cardigan, anything like that, really. Or, you know, to have, rather than a t-shirt, a short-sleeve button-up shirt, like a Hawaiian shirt. How is this not capitalism? Please explain. When you buy the clothes from the store, it is the capitalism. Of course, I wove all these clothing items myself. You know, I have a loom, so I constructed them in a most socialist fashion. So that's how you should make all of your clothing, you know? That's the right way to do it. Now, I want to know, with regards to t-shirts, I feel like oftentimes people make a huge mistake here, okay? First of all, if you're fat, there is a very high likelihood that t-shirts will not look the way on you that you want them to by default. The reason for that is because t-shirts are thin and often quite cheaply made, and they just sort of cling to your body in an ill-fitting manner. I think that oftentimes people will also wear t-shirts that are just too tight for them, you know? Because there's a big trend right now for, you know, like having the slim silhouette, you know, like your t-shirt perfectly molds to your body or whatever. I literally, I think if you look up like t-shirt, what is Temu often? Yeah, shit like this, okay? First of all, never trust any item of clothing that costs $3, but oftentimes when I see t-shirts advertised, they look like this. This is not advertising a t-shirt. This is advertising the fantasy of being slim. Raise your hand if you've seen t-shirt advertisements that look like this, where it's like tightly conformed to some mannequin, and it's like, oh yeah, this is how it'll look on you, you know? Bullshit. If you have an athletic body, like, a lot of clothing, even simple clothing like t-shirts, will look good by virtue of the fact that it accentuates your body. But stuff like this is advertising the fantasy of having that body, not the t-shirt itself. You understand, right? Right, okay. Now hold on. I got a few items this time. Take a look at this. Look, it's all of the stuff from my comfy bottoms drawer, you know? Also what I name people when I meet them off Grindr. Look. Joggers, sweatpants, and then shorts, you know? So, there you go. All your clothes look so soft. I mean, I do like comfy clothes, you know? I don't want to wear anything that's uncomfortable. Do you guys like joggers very much? Wait, 1 second, hold on. What's up? What's up? Oh, but you said mean after I said I'm busy, which I am.
Yeah, but mean.
What's up?
You're busy. You were talking.
What's up?
Nothing.
You were talking to me. Oh my god. Oh, okay. Just being annoying. I can't do joggers. There are like a million different kinds of joggers, but generally speaking, they're like comfortable, relaxed pants that tend to be tight around the ankle, so you get this, it's very big in streetwear. You have like a kind of billowy, sometimes more of a cargo pants vibe to the upper part of the pants, and then it tapers off right at the ankles. I'd look silly in those. I think that this is one of those items where you have to have a kind of vision going into it, and that vision in a lot of cases is literally just streetwear. Like, there are so many different ways to dress, and I don't think you should go into a store thinking, what genre should I dress in? But rather, can I build modular pieces that will work together sort of interchangeably within a broader set of outfits? Joggers are comfortable, and they're called joggers because they're good for athletic wear, you know? Because the taper at the ankle means you can run without worrying about it getting caught underneath the shoes. So that's nice. Yeah, there are also these more, I guess probably cargo joggers? Look at this. I think these look quite nice, by the way. Available from Walmart, apparently. That sounds nice. I guess when I think of like, how do you how do you present yourself? Or like, what items do you want to buy? It's like, I think the best thing that you can do is you can go to the store and get a collection of items that are so ubiquitous and uniformly useful that you could pair other things with them. Once you have a collection of t-shirts or long sleeve t-shirts or whatever else, like basic stuff like that, then you get a very different vibe between wearing, say, joggers versus sweatpants versus shorts versus whatever else, you know? Another thing only fit people can wear? Not true. Joggers look pretty good across a broad range of body types. And a big reason for that is because they're deliberately baggy. This particular brand goes up to 9XL, according to the internet. That's pretty interesting, huh? Now, again, there's such a trend these days with like skinny fit clothing where it's like everything has to perfectly hug the contours of your body. That's bullshit. But there is a critical difference between clothing that looks ill-fitting and clothing that looks deliberately baggy or oversized. It's the difference between wearing a t-shirt that is too big for you and a t-shirt that is an oversized t-shirt, you know? Let me find an example of that. This difference is really important to get down because it teaches you the difference, I think, between what is ill-fitting in the right way and what is ill-fitting in the wrong way. Now, of course, there is no right or wrong way, like, objectively. It's more what feels good. This is from Levi's. It's an oversized t-shirt. And one thing that you might notice is that he looks pretty good. And what's interesting is that even though he very clearly is skinny, you can see his forearm veins, this guy could wear a tight t-shirt that would accentuate his physique and look good. He's not doing that here. This t-shirt, this oversized t-shirt, could be easily worn by a plus-sized model in a way that would look pretty indistinguishable from how it looks here. And this is one of the reasons why it's so important, I think, to break free of the recent fashion obsession with everything being skinny fit and everything being like stretchy and everything perfectly conforming to your physique. That's all bullshit, okay? There are trends that cycle in between like baggy and skinny, but good form and good shape and good silhouettes stay valuable in between trends. Does that make sense? So yeah, if you're a little bit fatter, I recommend looking into oversized t-shirts because oversized t-shirts look good even if you're larger. That's the point. And oversized t-shirts also tend to have a thicker material, which means that the clothing drapes in the front a lot more pleasantly. See here, notice how the fold that runs from the shoulder down to here, or just the general like front of the t-shirt, it's like a solid pane of cotton, you know? It's nice and simple and pleasant, and it looks like it works. Let me give a few more examples of joggers while I'm sort of on the subject. Again, you'll notice a trend with the pants that I'm going to show. That trend being that they look quite good on skinny models, but they're oversized to the point where they could work for larger people too. Let me see if I could find a very out there example. Here we go. I would say this person is pretty fat, just judging from, you know, the little bit of image that I am seeing here. And I still think that this looks pretty goddamn good. Let me see if I can find a better example. I think that there are options available to fatter people, but I do not deny the fact that finding them takes a bit more work, especially since, like, Google Images barely even gives you anything to look at when you look up fat or plus size with an item. Last one I'll show. Hopefully it's understandable how stuff like this will fit pretty well, even if you're a bit overweight, or fairly overweight, just in large part because the way the silhouette is supposed to fit in your body accentuates, if anything, it sort of has like a slimming effect because it always tapers to the ankles, and your ankles will always be pretty skinny. Even if you're fat, you know, they're ankles. Great color too. Yeah, I think it's nice looking. I think it's pretty all right. So yeah, I like joggers for that reason. I think that they are a very accessible and nice, generally useful, like streetwear adjacent item. And also it's good for doing athletic stuff. Not that I do that. These are sweatpants. I take it to be comprehensible to all of you why wearing sweatpants can be nice, because they're sweatpants. I have a few of those. These are shorts. I've worn these like a million times on stream. They're very comfy. I think that when it comes to buying shorts, there's actually some really important distinctions when it comes to what type of shorts there are. Hold on. Doop. There we go. So, when it comes to like wearing shorts, all right? I feel like wearing shorts, I'm going to ban people who distract me. Benjamin, that includes you. When it comes to, where'd you get your comfy black shorts? Nordstrom, I think. But like they're cotton shorts. You can get them literally anywhere. When it comes to shorts, you can take this in a variety of directions. I think a big frequency interference on your audio. Are you the only one complaining about it, or are other people complaining about it? I only see you complaining about it. Stop complaining about it. So, when it comes to wearing shorts, I think a problem is that men wearing shorts pictures fashion. Sure, there we go. I think a big issue with shorts wearing is that there seems to be like this really hard line in the concept of guys wearing shorts, where most guys look really schlubby wearing shorts, and then you blink, and then there's this like community of male fashion advice dudes who look really good and kind of, in many cases, kind of douchey wearing shorts. And the question is like, well, wait, what happened, you know? It's like you associate shorts with like cargo shorts and like Zelda t-shirts for a while. And then it's like, how do I look good wearing shorts? And you Google it and you see dudes like this, and it's like, okay, I don't know how helpful this is for me, you know? Like, I'm not saying he looks bad. I think he looks good, I guess. But I don't know how helpful this is to me with regards to style. And I think the big issue there, or like what you're supposed to, pretty drippy TBF. Yeah, for sure. Shorts are challenging, but cargo shorts are so useful. There's nothing wrong with cargo shorts. Here, look, hold on. Men's fashion cargo shorts. Let me see if I can find a nice, like... There's a lot of silly images that you find when you look up stuff like that. Man, a lot of these are like... You know what, we'll go with this. This guy looks good. So let's examine why he looks good, right? What about this fit looks good? Whereas normally if you look up images of men in cargo shorts, or just you imagine yourself wearing cargo shorts, it tends not to look that good, okay? I'm gonna lay out some general rules here, and I hope people understand where I'm coming from, okay? One of the big issues with guys wearing shorts is that thanks to the modern obsession with everything being skinny and tapered, they taper the leg of the shorts. And what that does is create this god-awful silhouette whenever you raise your leg like this. See? And as a consequence of this, you get this like this inseam where you pull up and taper the leg every time you move your leg, and it gives you this weird like hobbled like it looks like it's a straight leg from like this, but then if you move around in it, it's like it's pulling from here rather than from the actual, you know, it's I don't have the language to describe fully like the problem with this. The thing that looks really good here is the straight leg continues forward and it creates a clean silhouette. A big part of looking good in an outfit is just learning how to effectively construct a silhouette. This is easier if you're skinny, but it's not impossible to manage if you're plus sized. Ideally, if there was to be like a shadow portrait of your body, like it was blacked out, you could only see the silhouette, you don't see any color or wrinkles or texture or anything like that, you would still have a pretty recognizable or at least striking silhouette, something that's pleasing to look at. You ever seen that thing online? People do this on Twitter a lot, where it's like, you know that a character design is good if you can recognize it purely from the silhouette. Have you seen that? That, like, meme? There is a truth to that, though it's oversimplified for comedic purposes in a lot of cases. Yeah, like Pokemon. Yeah, Pokemon silhouettes or whatever. I think the issue ultimately is that a lot of guys struggle. Let me see if I can find a non-fashion image. Hold on. Guy in cargo shorts, fashion fail. Something perhaps a little bit more candid. Why am I seeing so many AI generated images? That sucks. Dude, Google image search is so cooked these days. So annoying. What is this article? If you want to date, you guys need to ditch these fashion fails. Cargo shorts, they're dumpy and dorky, silly and bulky, way too long, usually falling so far past the knees that grown men end up looking as if they have short little elf legs. This article sucks, and you could ignore it. Don't worry, guys. I'm giving all of you permission to completely ignore this article, all right? You don't need to worry about that, okay? Cargo shorts can look good. You just need to know how to build them to your body properly. As always, the best way to figure out how to wear any item of clothing, literally anything, is just wear a basic outfit and then go clothes shopping, pull off like a half dozen items that are of very slightly different builds and fits and sizes and shapes. Go to the dressing room and just try them on, you know? It really is that simple. Yahoo image search is unironically a lot better than Google these days in my experience. Maybe, yeah. What else are they complaining about here? Athletic shorts as casual wear? Okay, this is just... Guys, never listen to straight women when it comes to fashion, ever. They literally like men. They have no taste, okay? Yeah. That writer thinks they're being a fun, bitchy gay when they're just being a cunt. Yeah, exactly. No respect whatsoever, okay? So when it comes to different types of shorts, there's a million, right? When I think of, like, what can I do, or what do I think of to make shorts look nice, you know? Like what direction can you take them in, you know? I think, in my opinion, it's about forming a pleasing silhouette with the other items that you're wearing, right? So, for example, poofy shorts can often look good with big, oversized shirts. Let me see if I can find an example of this. Men's streetwear, fashion, oversized shirt, and shorts. Everyone be wearing the skinny black pants, man. Here we go. Perfect. I think this looks really, really good. It doesn't look that impressive, and it's meant to be a casual outfit. It's literally shorts and a t-shirt. But I like, and I think it's quite pleasing, how there is a consistent silhouette that runs down to right above the knee. You take a look at this and it's like, okay, yeah, it's a t-shirt and shorts, but it looks cohesive, and for that reason, it doesn't look that bad. It's not going to be like a groundbreaking or mind-blowing outfit, but it works, you know? Here's an even better example, because you have a nice bit of color cohesion as well. See? We have a nice clean silhouette. Now, interestingly, the reasons why an oversized t-shirt and shorts look good are the same reason why an oversized t-shirt and skinny jeans look good. Because in both cases, you have a large upper body item that suddenly breaks into the skinny leg, right? If you're wearing like skinny jeans or whatever, the big t-shirt ends here, and then you have the skinny leg, right? If you're wearing the shorts, then the bigger silhouette ends here right above the knee, and it continues skinny from there. In both cases, it's really just about creating an appealing shape. Does that make sense? That's called the Billie Eilish principle. If only I knew anything about Billie Eilish to make or contest that statement, you know? Now, here's an example of what I would consider to be a grievously ugly outfit. This is from the workout shirt, short sleeve, Walmart line, or whatever. I think the reason this doesn't work that well is because there's nothing wrong with the shirt necessarily, but the shirt comes down so long that the shorts now become an unnecessary element. See? The shirt ending right here at about the same breakpoint as the shorts basically means that the shorts kind of look like, I don't know, another shirt layered underneath it. Do you understand how by having these two be so close together, you create a redundancy in the silhouette that looks like you should have either just like had a less long t-shirt, or you should have the shorts come down further, or you should have gone with black pants, because then you wouldn't have this weird stripe. Can you give a breakdown of what makes a pleasing silhouette? I mean, the logic behind that is really complicated and difficult to get into, but I think a lot of it has to do with drape, it has to do with fold, and it has to do with sort of acceptable levels of, give. So I think this looks pretty good. This is not a style that I would wear. However, it looks cohesive and I know what's going on here. You have the same basic logic. Oversized t-shirt, in this case, sort of layered long sleeve. I don't know what exactly this is, you know. Then you have about the same sort of width that breaks right here. And then you have, you know, the skinny leg. It makes sense. This outfit makes sense to look at. Hate the shorts? I don't like the shorts either, but it's not my style, you know? Lots of good examples of this. Here we go. I think this looks quite nice. This is just from a top-down angle too. Look at that. This guy, again, wearing a very, very oversized t-shirt, carrying some kind of bag behind him that's sort of crimping the fabric, but it looks simple, it looks cohesive. I think that this person, even in this state, is better dressed than most of the guys I see walking around. It's easy to judge from a distance, but I think it's important to understand that even getting the folds to look this nice, you know? You had to know what you were buying, and I respect it. Wasn't I supposed to be talking about shorts? I don't know if you are skinny, you should get a tighter t-shirt. No. Never fall into that line of thinking. Because if you think, oh, they're skinny, they should wear tighter clothes, what you're really saying is the clothing should be there to accentuate the physique. And that's what makes fashion exclusionary to fat people. Fashion, the clothing, is about the clothing. You know, your body is the mold, it's the canvas, but at the end of the day, what matters is what you paint on it, you know? If a skinny person wearing big, oversized outfits, in my opinion, is based in red-pilled, you know? And you can go that direction with a bunch of different types of shorts and shirts, but again, it's about thinking of form, it's about thinking of silhouette, you know? Slim fit is appropriate. I've been skinny for 35 years. No. See, that's the thing you have to internalize. Every fit is appropriate as long as it produces a good form and silhouette on you. As long as the fit that you're wearing is... So first of all, it has to fit, like literally fit on your body, obviously. It has to be comfortable. And then it's about the drape of the fabric. It's about the shape that it forms on your body and how sort of pleasantly that works with what you're building. Does that make sense? I hope it does, because this is what a lot of people fuck up with shorts. A lot of guys will just put on a t-shirt and they'll put on a pair of shorts, and there isn't really a cohesion there. There's not like a line between them that works. This is one of the reasons why if you look up fashion, men, shorts, you get so many images where... Well, okay, let's go through it, huh? Let's talk about it. Let me find a nice set of sample images. Here we go. This is from Paris Fashion Week, so this is a bit high-end as, you know, sort of fashion inspo goes. Definitely more than what most people would do when they're dressing up. But you can see the same basic principles applied when wearing this, you know? Like, you can understand the logic. Does that make sense? In terms of, like, what kind of silhouette are they trying to produce? What kind of body structure, what kind of folds or, like, sizing are they trying to produce? Are they trying to contrast things where you have one item that's really baggy and one item that's really stiff? Or are they going the other direction? Or are they trying to sort of, you know, pair it together and make it all work? I like Guy too. I think that there are virtues to all these outfits to an extent. But, you know, it's really just about looking and seeing what's being done right. Over here on the left side, you know, one of the things that I noticed looking at this, apart from the nice consistent silhouette, is the consistent wrinklage between these jean pants and the shirt that's being worn. It actually looks quite pleasant, almost like their entire body is a nice, you know, body of water where waves are breaking across or whatever. I think that's nice, you know? In this case, the shorts are pretty much pure black, which means they don't take energy or attention away from the patterned stripe and weird fit of the shirt that he's wearing up here. Over here, this guy in the middle literally just looks like a dude, you know? This is literally like a guy. Look, if somebody dressed like this can be in the center photo of a men's Paris Fashion Week article, that's your indication, guys, okay? This is doable, all right? The thing that I like really quite a lot about this guy over here is the fact that both his shirt and his shorts are doing this flare-out thing. Does that make sense? See how the shorts that he's wearing look better than if he was wearing these ones, because these ones taper in more, you know? So if he was wearing one that tapered in, you would have a shirt that folds out and then shorts that taper in, and it would create this kind of like sort of lump in the middle. Whereas here, there's a very deliberate drape that's consistent on both the shirt and the shorts. again, I'm kind of rambling about this, but the reason I'm doing that is because I want to make it clear that, like, the things you should be looking for when buying items of clothing are primarily, like, how do I make this work from a color sense, in a fashion, or sorry, like in a pattern sense, and how do you build a good silhouette? You know what I mean? And that's it. Like, that's the fundamental right there. Making sure it just looks and folds and sits nicely and the colors and patterns work together, and that's it, you know? It's actually really, really fucking simple. I overthought it a bunch. I used to overthink it even more. It's genuinely, honestly, sincerely, really, really, really simple, you know? Whatever pattern or style or whatever else you're going for, it's very doable. It's all very approachable, you know? It's very manageable if you have a, I guess, like, a willingness to take the time to try stuff on, you know? Thoughts on men wearing baseball caps? Fuck it, yeah, go for it, hell yeah. Absolutely. When you gonna cover cuts of jeans, that's gonna be a struggle? Nah, it's easy, okay? What's your opinion on flannel? I'll get that, don't worry. How do I want to... I'm trying to think. Do you think anyone can wear a particular style and or is confidence in what you're wearing the main thing? I think that basically anyone can pull off basically any style, with very few exceptions. There are some types of styles and some types of clothing that are just innately built towards skinnier people, but I think those are very far and few between. You fell for it again. You're very much like Trump supporters. If any, I'm teaching you a lesson. You're like, how could Trump voters fall for it? Well, folks,